Hey there, Orlando here with another contemplation of the gene keys that are transiting us in these days. So it's time for the 37th gene key with tenderness, equality, and weakness, and the 40th gene key with divine will, resolve, and exhaustion. It was a very I don't know how to put it in words. It was a very shadowy contemplation because if you don't know how I do things, I write a contemplation, a relatively large contemplation, um, and after that I put it in a video for you guys because the contemplation is written in Romanian and it's very time lengthy to translate it. So it was a very shadowy contemplation, and I felt it because the 37th gene key is about family and is about how we perceive ourselves. And the 37 with the 40th gene key are what these two are the gene keys that help us really relate with each other, and in the gift form is like relating beyond our emotions, and in the shadow form it's relating through our emotions. And what came up to me is I'm sorry to say it again, it's very shadowy because as a society and as humanity as a whole, um, we are really struggling in this period to really um, get beyond our emotional reactions. Yeah, the 37th gene key is about emotions. Is an emotional gene key. Is the only emotional gene key that has a direct connection to the heart. And if you know a little bit of human design, you know why this is. But you don't even know, you don't have to know this. Uh, so this is the connection from our emotions to the heart. So if we let our emotion cloud our judgment, then we're really going to have some trouble. So the shadows of weakness and exhaustions will be there full time. Yeah, because if we listen to our emotions when we are down, when we are in a shadowy state, then we will feel or too weak or too I don't know, stronger than others and better than others. This is the word. And the gift of equality won't be there. So this is why there are lots of people that are in survival mode in our society and are struggling because they feel they are weaker than others. So they have to work more. They have to, I don't know, to do more, to hustle more, or yeah. And what this does is make that person feel very exhausted. Um, and we are now right now in a society of exhaustion and of course weakness. If we look at wealth and the wealth distribution patterns in all the world, uh, there are like a handful of people that are really wealthy and they have most of the resources on the planet, and 97% or 99%, 97 to 99% of the world has the rest. And what this culture of that is based on shadows. I'm sorry to say it. I think it is an important step in our developmental process to really understand the shadow and to be in the shadow as a society for longer periods of time. And we have been, and we are, still are. We have constructed our society based on shadows, on greed, on shame, on weakness, on every take every shadow of the gene key, and put also the shadow patterns of the lines like fear, neglect, not neglect. I don't know how to translate it in English. Denial, yeah. Rejection, shame. I said earlier. Blame, also disappointment and lack of trust, and isolation, of course. And if you put all these shadows, uh, I don't know, on a paper, you can see the fundamentals of our society. Of course, there are also gifts that arise in our society. But I'm sorry to say it. I feel these gifts are like the exception and not like the rule. So when the gifts are only the exception, of course, we are living in a society that permeates these shadow patterns, and you can see it also in how people in this the period are incredibly sad and depressed and feel lack of purpose and feel they don't belong. Yeah, the feeling of family, the 37th gene key, is not really there. Yeah, so I'm going to speak about this, why I feel um, we are so sad, we are so depressed, and what can we do about it. But until then, I'm going to explore um, this this weakness, this shadow of weakness, and how we made our society like this. And what I wanted to say, and I was trying to remember, is look at the TV shows that are like talent, the TV shows like I don't know, England or I don't know, USA has talent. I don't know how, or The Voice or stuff like that, and they are really putting emphasis or on some individuals that try to express the native genius, and they are validated by a group of judges, and they say, okay, you have talent, you don't have talent, or you have better talent than this person. And these shows are very popular in our culture, and of course they have their use, uh, but again it shows how we've constructed our society. Yeah, so a society based on gifts, based on alchemy, based on unity, based on family, family as a whole, based on self-sustainment, yes, like economy, and self-sustaining economy and stuff like that. Uh, it's like a culture where um, people really are in contact, or most of the people are in contact with their native genius. Um, but for that to appear, for a culture of people that are in contact with their native genius, those people, though, from the time that they were children, they need nurturing. Yeah, they need to be nurtured in a way. This is why family is very important. The 37 gene key. They have to be nurtured. So their native genius will be sustained, because we all are geniuses when we are young, but because of our education, we just repress it. Yeah, so if we live in a culture that nurtures the native genius of children, and they let children grow this way, then of course we won't see talent shows like this, or if they are, they won't be so popular. Yeah, because people are watching those talent shows and they are projecting their image. Oh, if I was in that person, and they're starting to relate with the people that are there, uh, and some people see these talent shows and are like, I'm so shitty. I can't do anything with my life, and get more depressed. Yeah, and we also are in a society that really promotes image. So like Instagram or Facebook or other mediums, where or Twitter, where people can, I don't know, brag about the vacations they went to, or look what relationship I have, and this perfect image of themselves. When we all know, any person that starts a deconditioning process with any tool, Jinkies or other tools, really know that, and get to this point of knowing that every relationship is flawed, is imperfect. There can't be a perfect relationship. There can't be a perfect trip, or there can't be a perfect person, even if that person is on TV. And then we can really start looking at ourselves and other people as equals. Equality, the gift of the 37th Jinki. But for equality to rise in us, and of course in others, we really need nurturing, tenderness. Yes, the essence of the 37th Jinki. We have to treat ourselves with tenderness, with gentleness, with kindness. Lots of nesses. Because when we do this to us, and of course equality will start to arise, because we'll look at us, and we'll see us more beautiful, more purposeful, and I don't know, other stuff like that, and then we're going to see other people as they are, not put them on a pedestal and project the hell out of them on them. And yeah, so of course parents project lots of shit on their children. Yeah, I said it in other clips. I really like to say shit because I'm not a native English speaker, so for me as a Romanian, it's a very nice sounding word. Yeah, I have my quirks. Yeah, back to this. So when we treat ourselves kindly, we can treat others kindly. So the first ones that must be treated kindly for a culture to arise, children. Yeah, this is for the children. Yeah. Rauruhu, the person that got the human design system, said this. Richard Rudd, with the Jinkies, said this, and this is about children, because we as adults, I'm sorry to say it, and I've seen it in my programs, and also in what I do in mental and emotional deconditioning. Not all adults are going to make it. With this, they're like, okay, 100 will come and 10 will stay. Yeah. The shadow patterns are strong. Yeah. So not all adults will make it. So we really, if we only try on adults to decondition them, we'll get into, of course, into this culture of we'll get into this trap, and we'll permeate this culture of depressed and lack of purpose people. So a person that really wants to decondition, be well in this life and perceive things clearly will do this and can do this. Yeah, I've seen this. I've seen this in the Jinkies and in the work with the Jinkies. This is why I love this tool, because I've seen how powerful it is, because it feeds the mind. Yeah, because the mind wants reasons, yeah, to unblock, and some people are really stubborn, of course, me included. So there are I don't know, there are teachers, there are really great teachers of presence in the world, like gurus or people like that really teach, hey, you have it all in you, all you need is presence, but there are all need to be present in a moment and stuff like that, and I feel they're on 100% true, and they are on a very high level of consciousness. But some people are very stubborn, and some people really need reasons. Of course, it's like treating a hangover with more alcohol. Sometimes it works, you know, but this is what some people need. If they are too stubborn, okay, feed them this information so they will be less stubborn in time. Yeah. So this is if one person wants to get out of depression using a tool like this, I feel that person can do this. That person can really, because what the Gene Keys does, and I felt this in me, it really changes the structure of us, and we change in our image. Our face changes. If you look at pictures and videos of me like 2-3 years ago, and I was into Gene Keys 2-3 years ago or 4 years, I was different from now. Yeah, I reached, my face changed, my eyes changed, my physique changed, how I perceive myself changed. Of course, I have worked, I still have work to do. There isn't really work to do. Of course, this is a conditioning, but I'm in a process, and I'm closer and closer and closer to my needs, to myself, and it's way better than before. So what I was telling is, we can use the Gene Keys to really help adults, but not all would make it. I'm sorry, not all. I'm seeing these results. They're not really great right now, because okay, if a very important crisis will come, maybe more will come to realization that okay, I have to release my stubbornness and open myself so I can grow. But until then, yeah. So this is for the children. So we are helping adults like ourselves to create a more nurturing culture. So the children that come from that nurturing culture will nurture their children, and it will be this emulation. And I feel in some generations, I don't know if I will live to see it, in some generations we will really see a self-sustaining society, yeah, like or a type 1 society. Yeah, I think it's Kardashev scale. Yes, Kardashev scale, type 1 society. You can Google it if you don't know about it. And this is so this is a very volatile period. Michio Kaku, the neuro physicist, spoke about this, about the Kardashev scale, and how we are getting from a type 0 society, like what we are now, to a type 1 of self-sustaining society. Yeah, but it's a very volatile period, because people will have to renounce their power. You know, what makes them feel powerful, and doesn't feel them and doesn't make them feel weak. So this is why the 37 Gene Key is very important. And if you know a little bit about the global change of 2027, we have been from 1614 until 2027, we are in the gene keys of 37 and 40. So we are in the global era of the 37 and 40, and we have been in this global era for more than 400 years. Yeah, 406 years to be more exact. So we are living this era of wanting to not feel weak. And we are going to the era of the 55th and the 59th gene key. Yeah. So we'll see if we are going to be victims of of our weaknesses, and of course we'll blow ourselves up as a society, because this is as Michio Kaku said, this is a very volatile period, because this is the period when we can self destruct our our world, our society. Wars can happen in this period. Yeah. So we really need nurturing. Yeah. As of course as adults, because if we are really hurt because of our experience, we really need nurturing. So where do we get nurturing? Where do we get equality and resolve for our problems and situations? Of course, in communities. Of course, in large families. Sometimes we get this in the blood families, in the families that we were born into, but not every time. Yeah. So this is why we have to be open to let in our lives people that will nurture us, and of course we will nurture them. This is why this process of deconditioning through the gene keys gets us from the activation sequence to the Venus sequence, when we learn to open up more and to be more vulnerable and to accept the button pushing and not to react to this button pushing from others, because others will push our buttons. But how we react to that will make us more wounded, or will help us heal. So if we react to this button pushing, will be worse than before. If we learn how to be still, the central stability, the inner stability, if we learn to be still in this, we really can open up to others. And so if we open up to others, we see other people as equals. Yeah, and when we see other people as equals, we can live with them. But right now, look at families. There are two people that really can't live one with another, because they're so pushing their buttons that are, two people can't live together. When 5 people live together in a community, or 10 people, or 20 people, there's war. There will be war. Yeah, because people can live together when when they can get beyond their ego, their ego that is fueled by emotions. The 3740. Yeah, if their ego is fueled by emotions and said, they hear this inner voice of get revenge, or you are jealous, kick this guy or this girl's ass, or something like that. We can't live with other people. So I have the 30th gene key, the 13th gene key, and the 7th gene key in my activation sequence as my life's work and as my evolution. Yeah, and I'm mentioning this because the 30th gene key is about living together, is about people that get together and really can open one with another. And I watch this society that I'm living in, and how people really can't live with each other. And of course, it's if I let myself caught in this, I'm a little sad. because in me I really feel this urge to live together and nurture ourselves, because we are all wounded. Yeah, we are all wounded. So this is why Richard and said, if you are in a relationship, in a Venus sequence, stay in that relationship and be reborn in that relationship. Yeah, because this, if you learn how to open up in a relationship that you I don't know, you feel it's challenging, then you can really open up to other people. So relationships, for us adults, are like the key to these extended families that will grow in the next period. And how we can get out of the shadow patterns and this victim stance that we choose sometimes, is through the gift of resolve. The 40th jinki with the gift of resolve, yeah, with the courage to say, to feel our needs, and to say yes when we say it from our heart, and to say no when we don't feel our heart, and not when you don't feel our heart, when our heart says you can't handle this right now, it's not the time. But this means to really feel the heart, not to listen to emotions, because if we listen to our emotions may be moody, and our emotions may say today yes and tomorrow no, and 3 days later yes and 4 days later no, and so people will be more confused, and they won't know what to do, and so there won't be any resolve. This is why in our society there is little resolve. We see politics, we watch politics, and if we're courageous enough to watch politics, we see there is little resolve in this, because they can't listen to their heart. Yeah, and their decisions are like, today we say yes to this, tomorrow there isn't a clear, a clear open-hearted decision that encompasses all. No, it's like mine. I want more power. I want, so I won't feel weak in this. Yeah. So we really need to open ourselves and to really feel our heart, to feel this gift of resolve in us, and to feel the divine will that says, okay, things are like how they are. We can't change. I want people to live together in a new society, a self-sustaining society, but I know that right now we aren't ready. The divine will, so I'm doing my best. If I'm getting depressed because of this, I'm just getting in the trap of the world is shitty right now, I don't want to live in this world, and this is a trap. We are born in the exact time that we need, so we can learn what we have to learn, so we can grow. So if I'm born in this period, I say, okay, I have this feeling of the 13th jinki that says, be like brothers, be like sisters, be together. But I'm doing my best to emulate this in my life, and to get people that I love and love me, and to be together, and to show others and to inspire others that it is possible. So what my message is, and why I think there is so much depression around, is that people are so isolated from nurturing. Yeah, are so isolated from nurturing. So we get far from our family. We get far from our roots. We get, I don't know, married, or we get a boyfriend or girlfriend, and we move like I don't know, kilometers away from our friends, and we meet them I know, 1 or 2, maybe 2 times if we're lucky, every week, and we go to work like 8 or 9 hours, where there is little nurturing in very many cases, and so we live a life where there is not a nurture. There isn't sufficient nurturing. And of course, aren't living in an open-hearted society, and of course there are so many people depressed because they aren't getting this nurturing. Yeah, in a tribal setting, there was and there is nurture, sufficient nurture, and nobody is depressed. Nobody is individually depressed in that. Yeah, because let me give you an example. Yeah, because in a tribal environment, there isn't this greed, this shadow of greed. Look at companies. Yeah, companies are putting a person to be responsible for lots of things. One person, like they putting a salesperson to be responsible for, I don't know, maybe a county or something like that. And they're putting all the responsibility on that person, and they're putting all the pressure on that person. And if that person delivers, okay, they give that person a little slice of the results. But if that person doesn't do well, they get rid of that person. Yeah, and this is in this society of where we discard ourselves. Of course, there are so many people depressed because there is so much pressure in a tribal environment. All the men that can go that can hunt go to the hunt. There isn't a pressure on one individual. This is why there are no stars in a tribal environment. But in this society, there we put very much emphasis on stars, like TV stars or movie stars or singers or I know people that are very popular. Yeah, and we put all that emphasis on this. In a tribal environment, there isn't that. There are all, and they are all protected, and they nurture themselves. If one person in that group has a not so good day, maybe another will have, and so the group will come with food back to the tribe. We have to learn to live like this again, of course, with technology, of course, with all the benefits that we have now, because we've learned lots of things in the past. But if we don't know how to, if we don't get beyond our ego, beyond our emotions that say, hey, you must be the best, you must be the one. Yeah, because if you don't do this at a stellar level, you are shit. So this is why we look at singers that really sing with a very beautiful voice, and then we listen to our voice and say, we are shitty. I'm not like that person, and this is stupid. We are all so unique because we are equal in this uniqueness. Every person has its role in the society. Yeah. But for this to happen, we really need this nurturing. Yeah, we really need to learn to nurture ourselves. We really need to resolve things in a group, because the 40th Jinki and the 37th Jinki are not individual Jinkis, are tribal Jinkis. They aren't about one, they're about the many. So if we put one person to resolve problems, it's like putting a politician or a president to resolve. It's stupid. Yeah, we can't do this anymore if we really care for our our society, our lives. Yeah, for humans, for humanity. So this is why I feel these two Jinkies are so important right now in this context, and this is how I feel all these shadowy sensations when I contemplate this, because it's like humanity is crying because we aren't nurturing ourselves anymore, and we really need nurturing. We can't be stubborn and say, hey, I don't need nurturing. We really need nurturing. We need touch. We need we need validation sometimes. Yeah, not being dependent on validation. No, being validated as a human being. So because in a tribe, every person is validated as a human being in a tribal environment. Yeah, and so this is why if you are validated as a human being, not for your talents, because if we validate ourselves by our talents and by our actions, we destroy ourselves. If we validate ourselves as a human being, as unique and original as we are, it's perfect. This is how we heal ourselves. So if we manage to do this in our lives with the people that are next to us, yeah, with our lovers, with our friends, with our families, and then we can grow. We can grow and live together. Live together in this environment of nurture, because we really need it. I'm sorry, I need it, and I feel lots of people need it. This is why I feel I was born with the 13th jinki. Not to say that I can do it alone, but that we need each other. Yeah, we really need each other. We really need to be together. Yeah, because if we are together, we are stronger, and we don't need to have an individual identity of strong or weak, but as a group we feel strong or weak, and so as individuals we are equal. And so if we feel strong or weak as a group, then we can resolve. We can use the gift of resolve. Yeah, maybe we need more food. Yeah, maybe we need I don't know, technology to help us to be more sustainable. Maybe this is how we resolve things as a group. There, as Richard said many times, and I'm really grateful for him to say this, because this is why I resonated with these teachings of the Jinkies. His teachings is, Richard said, this is the time of not of one genius, one person that is the genius, but a genius of the group, of the people that get together, of the polymath, or polymath people that get together, and they can use their extended geniuses to and put together stuff, and so solutions will naturally arise. Yeah, there is too much pressure in our society. There is too much pressure in our families. There is too much pressure everywhere. So to resolve things, we can't do this all alone. We need each other. Yeah, because one human being is weak when that human being is alone. When that human being is not nurtured by the tribe, is not being supported by the tribe, by the community, by the group. And the person that is like this, is alone, is very easy to manipulate, and is used as is used in the first tier of wars, media wars, real wars. They're put in the front lines. This is the front lines of wars, of media wars or real wars or something like that. Because it's very easy to manipulate. Say, hey, that person is guilty for your weakness. Yeah, this is how Hitler started World War II. Let's remember, I said Jews are the source of all evil, and why you are poor, and let's kill them. And we have to learn. Yeah, we have to learn from the past. We have to learn. We have to learn to nurture ourselves, and so we can nurture others, and not to discard people. Of course, if people choose not to be with us, we can't force them. We can't force them. This is very important. So if we have a heart connection with the people in the group, then we can function as a group. Because if we don't have a heart connection and we get everyone involved because, hey, I want to include everyone, someone will get up and say, you are shit, I'm going to make another group. So we really have to listen to our hearts and start with the people that we resonate, and start with the people we have a heart connection. And so we can show other people how to listen to their hearts and have this heart connection, and to put the group in front, not the individual. Yeah, the individual is growing in a group environment. This is why an individual grow in a relationship. If one person feels I'm better than this relationship, than this person that I'm in the relationship, doesn't really learn anything, but just discards the other that other people and feels that okay, I'm better than than that one. And it's not true. Yeah, we can, if we really know, and this is a Venus work, yeah, Venus sequence work, if we really know how to parent ourselves, how to nurture ourselves, in those moments we can put our love and we can show our partners our love and make them feel safe. Yeah, feels you are safe, you are loved, even if you are sometimes shadowy, because we all are. And if we put this nurturing in the world, first with our loved ones, then with our friends, and then with other people, then we can have these heart-to-heart connections, and we start to get into communities all over the world, because there are communities right now that are doing this, but there are so little. Yeah, and this is a message of that has a global uh, um, yeah, for the global stage. Yeah, we need to do this more. We need to create these heart-to-heart communities all over the world. But this can be made only by people that, and only by adults that choose not to be the victim, the persecutor, or the savior. This can be made by adults that are real stable inside, and not react to every emotion. Yeah, you really can't have a good relationship if you are always in jealousy mode, yeah, because this is like reacting from this jealousy and putting this jealousy in the relationship. When you understand that jealousy is your responsibility and you nurture yourself, even if you feel jealous, in time, there of course time is needed. In time, you'll feel less and less jealous, and feel more loved. What I felt by working with my jealousy and possessions of other people, because I was like that in the past, and I was possessive. Now I feel just love when jealousy arises. Then I feel how it's transmuted with love, and when I first felt it, it was joy. Wow, I feel love when, like, a few years ago, I felt really jealous, and you know. Um, so this is my message about the 37th and the 40th Jinki. Yeah, this is like a summary of the contemplation. Of course, the contemplation is way longer, but this is the main things that I wrote. Hope it helps, and see you next time. And until then, I still didn't, if you watched my last contemplation, I said I will make a webinar with my friend Cătălin Pârvu from the Jinkies community about the 6 lines, because we are really into the lines in the future, and we didn't announce it, and I feel we will announce it next week when we'll do it, and the cost and everything. Maybe it will be like I don't know, $50 or €50 or something, with a possibility for people that can't afford it to get like a scholarship. And of course we'll announce our project, because this will be a part of a bigger project to help people that resonate with mental and emotional deconditioning in the world to get on board, and most get on board with the Jinkies. Yeah, so I wish to nurture others, and so you can nurture yourself. Yeah, I wish you lots of nurturing. Yeah, with lots of tenderness, and really honoring the divine will.